All right, we're about to dive in and solve a puzzle that's been around for 2,000 years. Our whole journey starts with just one kind of cryptic verse from the Gospel of John. And believe it or not, it ends at the bottom of an archaeological dig in Jerusalem. This is the amazing story of how a piece of scripture, one that people dismissed as just symbolism for centuries, was literally physically unearthed.
Here it is. This is the verse that started this whole thing, John 5, verse 2. So it gives us a name, Bethesda, and a location, near the sheep gate. But then it throws in this one very weird architectural detail, 5 covered colonnades. And for centuries, that simple description was a huge problem for historians and archaeologists. I mean, think about it. Who builds a 5-sided pool? It's just so bizarre, architecturally, that for a long time, many scholars just figured, no way this was a real place. They assumed it had to be a metaphor, maybe for the 5 books of the Torah or something like that. But what if it wasn't?
Now, to make things even more confusing, the first attempts to actually find this pool were a complete dead end. Explorers in the 19th century pointed to a totally different spot, the Birkat Israel, and said, that's Bethesda. This mix-up just added more fuel to the fire that the biblical description was more symbolic than literal.
But then, everything changed. While digging near the gorgeous Church of St. Anne, archaeologists started uncovering this massive, sprawling complex of ancient ruins. It was immediately clear they had stumbled onto something really important, something that had been buried and built over for centuries.
And here it is, the solution to the whole puzzle. Those 5 porticos, they weren't surrounding some weird 5-sided pool. The site was actually this huge rectangular pool that was divided right down the middle by a central wall. So you had 4 colonnades around the outside and a 5th one running right down that center wall. Exactly 5 porticos. Turns out the biblical account was perfectly architecturally accurate the whole time.
So, okay, the mystery of the shape was solved. But you know how it is. That just opened up a brand new question. Why? Why would anyone build such an enormous, complicated pool right next to the temple? What was its real purpose?
Well, there were basically 2 competing theories about what this pool was for. On one hand, the biblical story points to it being a place of miraculous healing, a tradition that later got linked to the Roman god of healing, Asclepius. But the archaeological evidence, that suggested something totally different, a massive Jewish bath for ritual purification.
Now, to really understand the evidence, you need to know what a mikveh is. It's a Jewish ritual bath, and it's for achieving ceremonial purity. But here's the key rule. According to Jewish law, it has to use living water. That means water from a natural source, like rain, not water that's been carried in a bucket. This little detail is the key to the entire site's design.
And right here, this is the smoking gun, archaeologically speaking. Just look at these steps in the southern pool. See how they run the entire width of the basin? You just don't build steps like this for a reservoir or a swimming pool. No, these are designed for huge crowds of people to walk in, immerse themselves completely, and become ritually pure before heading up to the temple for the big pilgrimage festivals. And this 2-pool system was just an absolutely ingenious piece of engineering. The northern pool acted as an utzer, which is basically a storehouse that collected all the pure rainwater. The southern pool was the actual mikveh, where people bathed. And that central dam, it had a gate at the bottom, which allowed the pure water from the utzer to flow into the mikveh, making sure it always met those strict requirements of Jewish law. And get this, the name itself, Bethesda, fits perfectly. In Aramaic, it means house of mercy or house of grace. And that name could totally refer to the mercy of physical healing, like in the biblical story, or the grace of spiritual cleansing that came from ritual purification before you enter God's temple.
Okay, so let's shift gears from the archaeology for a second and go back to the story that made this place so famous. At this very pool, a place filled with people desperate for wholeness, Jesus finds a man who has been an invalid, just waiting for a miracle, for a staggering 38 years.
38. The text is so specific about that number. It's not around 40 years or for many decades, it's 38 years. And whenever a detail is that precise in an ancient text, it's usually a sign that we should be paying very close attention.
So why that number? Is it just there to show us how long and completely hopeless the man's situation was? Or is it something more, like a key unlocking a much deeper layer of meaning that the story's original audience would have caught right away?
And here is that deeper layer. An ancient Jewish reader would have heard that number and instantly recognized it. In the book of Deuteronomy, it says that the generation of Israelites who disobeyed God wandered and died out in the wilderness for, you guessed it, exactly 38 years. They were stuck, unable to enter the Promised Land, their place of rest. Just like this man, stuck for 38 years, unable to enter the healing water.
You see, this symbolism deepens the entire story. The pool is near the sheep gate. This man represents a lost sheep of Israel, and Jesus, whose name in Hebrew is Yeshua, which is the very same name as Joshua, is acting like a new Joshua, finally ending that long period of waiting and leading this man into his true Sabbath rest.
But the story of this site didn't end there, not even close. It became this place of layered meaning. After it was a Jewish mikveh, the Romans came in and built a pagan healing temple right on the spot. Later, Christians built a huge Byzantine church to honor the miracle. And centuries after that, the Crusaders built another one. Every single era left its mark.
And this magnificent church, the Church of St. Anne, is still standing today. It's just a powerful testament to the enduring significance of this one spot. It's a reminder that this location has been seen as holy ground by different faiths for over 2,000 years. So what began as a cryptic little verse in a book became a real excavated place. A place of Jewish ritual purity, of pagan healing, of Christian miracle, and of ongoing worship. It's like in these few acres, you can see the entire complex history of Jerusalem all compressed into layers of stone.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a simple description of a pool with 5 porches can contain all of this, archaeology, theology, thousands of years of history, what other stories are still out there, just beneath the surface, waiting for us to find them?